Welcome to our channel. We're so happy to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe and help us hit our goal of 100,000 subscribers. Welcome to our channel. We're so happy to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe and help us hit our goal of 100,000 subscribers. A young boy carrying his deceased baby brother on his back in Nagasaki, October 1945, waiting in line at the crematorium. Photo taken by Joe O'Donnell. As a result of pilot error, a transport plane dropped a load intended for the Women's Battalion to the fighters. Southern Rhodesia, January 1980. B-24, liberator of the 705th Bomb Squadron over Orly Airfield, Paris, May 1944. 1946 actress Celia Johnson and director David Lean head to Paris to celebrate Brief Encounter, a cinematic masterpiece. Dzerzhinsky, Felix Edmundowicz, Polish revolutionary, Soviet statesman and party leader, head of a number of people's commissariats, founder and head of the Cheka. The photo was taken in Krakow in 1912. Olympic swimmer Jenny Fletcher in her prime during the 1910s. She won gold and silver in the 1912 Olympics in Sweden. 1943, bandit Katya of the Dough Brush Partisans defying the Nazis in Belarus under Stalin's banner. In 1966, a terrible blizzard swept across the United States and the east side of the Rocky Mountains. Welcome to our channel. We're so happy to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe and help us hit our goal of 100,000 subscribers. Sergeant Karen Hermiston, a.k.a. Hermie, earned a special place in Canadian history as the only official female photographer for the armed forces amidst combat during World War II. Alexei Nikolaevich, third from right son of the Tsar Nicholas II, smacks another boy in the face for making a mistake during a cadet drill. On this day 50 years ago, the NVA and the Viet Cong captured the South Vietnamese capital of Saigon. As the city fell, tens of thousands of people began to scale the walls of the U.S. Embassy, but in the end, only 5,500 Vietnamese would be helicoptered out by American forces. Lucille Ball in her high school basketball team photo in 1925. She's the one in front, sitting on the ground. Before she was Dorothy on the Golden Girls, Bea Arthur joined the U.S. Marine Corps Women's Reserve during World War II. She served for 2 years as a driver and dispatcher in North Carolina and had only one blemish on her record: contracting a venereal disease that left her incapacitated for a month in 1944. Vietnam, 1969. An American soldier takes drugs to escape a war that felt like it would never end. Clara Bow photographed for her first talkie The Wild Party, 1928, released in 1929. South African police beating women with batons in Durban, South Africa, on April 17, 1962, after they had destroyed and set fire to a brewery in protest against police actions banning homemade alcohol. Unusual and rare photograph of Winston Churchill feeding his pet white kangaroo, Digger, the only albino kangaroo in Europe, at London Zoo, Regent's Park, 1948. Mohandas Gandhi with his charkha cloth spinning wheel in his prison cell at Yaravda prison in India from 1932 to 1933, he was imprisoned for demonstrating against British rule. He encouraged others to spin their own cloth, as opposed to buying it off the British. 1922. Dorothy Arnold in the Greenwich Village Follies of 1922, photographed by Edwin Bauer Hesser. Mark Felt, the Associate Director of the FBI, second highest rank, who is famous for being the anonymous whistleblower known as Deep Throat, who assisted in implicating the White House's role in the Watergate scandal. Indian noblewoman Rani Shri Amrit Kaur Sahib in her traditional clothes, 26th of June 1924. Picture named Typical French by the Swedish photographer. Battlefields of World War I, 1914 to 1918. Paul Newman at the premiere party for Cool Hand Luke in New York City, 1967. An ethnic Albanian demonstrator gasps for breath after he was beaten by riot police, while a policeman, C, runs through tear gas during clashes in the center of Pristina, March 2, 1998. An exotic dancer demonstrates that her underwear was too large to have exposed herself after undercover police officers arrested her in Florida. A Raisin in the Sun, 1961. Sidney Poitier in downtown Chicago, then and now, 2025, OCEIC. Adolf Hitler hand-feeds deer, a chilling contrast between cruelty and pastoral calm. Carol Burnett, with cinematographer Joseph Ruttenberg during production of Daniel Mann's Who's Been Sleeping in My Bed, 1963. At the turn of the 20th century, tens of thousands of children worked as newsboys in cities across the United States. They would buy bundles of newspapers from publishers and then sell them on the street. Most newsboys were poor, many were homeless, and some began working as young as 4 years old. Italian immigrants arriving at the port of Santos, São Paulo, Brazil in 1907. Danish foreman Bernhard Arpsindberg, future hero of the Nanjing Massacre, poses with Chinese machine gunners during the Battle of Shanghai. Publicity portrait of actor Yale Summers, 1933 to 2012, holding a jaguar cub as Jack Dane in the TV series Daktari, 1966, United States. Jackie Robinson, a baseball hero for the Brooklyn Dodgers, sits with his wife Rachel on the front steps of their house in 1949, holding his baby son Jackie Jr. on his lap. Nina Lean took the picture. Bar Gunner. Terry Moore eats his rations on Okinawa. April/May 1945. He served with the 184th Infantry Regiment, 7th Infantry Division, and was wounded in action on May 27, 1945. He was discharged on August 9, 1945, and passed away in 2004. He is buried in Lompoc, California. Photo of Jacksonville Mayor Hans Tanzler and Lee Meredith. Times Union File photo, October 1968, Lou Egner, Jacksonville Journal. Karime Aboud, 1896 to 1940, one of the first Palestinian women in the Levant region to pursue photography. Soldiers looked down at the 45-meter-deep crater left by the detonation by the British of 21 tons of explosives underneath German positions near Messines in West Flanders. It was one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history. The blast killed 10,000 soldiers. It was heard as far as Dublin. Louis Leakey wearing his iconic coveralls over his tuxedo at a Leakey Foundation fundraising event, sometime between 1968 to 1972. Royal Navy warship HMS Cossack has rescued the last known survivor from sunken battleship Bismarck, a ship's cat found clinging to floating debris. He's been named Oscar, the naval signal for man overboard. Iran, 1973. A woman cuts her birthday cake unaware of the revolution looming just 5 years ahead. On this day in 1970, 2,000 students gathered on the campus of Kent State in Ohio to protest the Vietnam War. Though canisters of tear gas were fired into the crowd, the protesters remained steadfast. At 12:24 p.m., National Guardsmen opened fire, killing 4 people and injuring 9 in 13 seconds. Seabees of the 33rd Naval Construction Battalion defused Japanese ordnance at an ammo dump on Peleliu. A lone Soviet soldier walks away from a grave of his fallen brothers-in-arms on the banks of the Volga, Stalingrad. 478,000 to 675,000 Red Army troops died in the brutal fighting. February 1943. 1920. Derry, New Hampshire. A moment of small-town glamour as the Winter Carnival Queen is crowned amidst snowy festivities. In 1969, when Black Americans were still prevented from swimming alongside whites, Mr. Rogers decided to invite Officer Clemens to join him and cool his feet in a pool. South African police beating women with batons in Durban, South Africa, on April 17, 1962, after they had destroyed and set fire to a brewery in protest against police actions banning homemade alcohol. Baseball legends, Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig fundraising for a new hospital at Dexter Park in Brooklyn, New York, on October 12, 1928. Ruth subsequently commandeered a cop's horse and proceeded to ride around the stadium. 1924, a hippo pulling a cart, surreal, whimsical, and a strange chapter in human-animal relationships. Louis Leakey wearing his iconic coveralls over his tuxedo at a Leakey Foundation fundraising event, sometime between 1968 to 1972. August 1944, Allied troops shield a French woman during sniper fire in Chart Liberation came at a cost.